Greetings, everybody. It's IT2, and I'm going to have to make this quick because I have to go to bed in like 20 minutes. And I wanted to get this in before the month is over. Empire of the Damned, I finished about 3 days ago. I've started on the next book already. I'm about 200 pages into it. And also, I'm almost done with Waybound, the last book in the Cradle series. So technically, I've read 4 books this month, which is pretty sad. It's like a book a week. But this one, I don't remember if the first one I put it in my favorites, but this one I'm going to put in my favorites. I think I like it a little better than the first one. The first one was a really good setup for the world, explaining how the vampire clans work and the Silver Saints and Dior LaChance. She's like the Grail, which is like the keeper of the blood of what this world's version of Jesus is. So it's a little bit different than Christianity. He like died on a wheel. And she's supposed to be like, he had a wife too, and that was Saint Michon, like the Saint Michon or something. I think it was his wife, or his mother, or sister, or something like that. Kind of like the Mary the Virgin or whatever. But anyway, the last book ended with Gabriel de Leon. He's the last Silver Saint, and they were trying to sacrifice Dior, the Grail. She's also a lesbian, by the way. And there's like 3 sex scenes in this book. I think they're all the lesbians, or they're gay sex scenes. There's a gay male couple, and she's a lesbian. Dior's a lesbian, and she's trying to hook up with this one woman, I think. Yeah, and she hooks up with a vampire, I think. It's like unnecessarily full of sex scenes, but I don't think it's marketed as an LGBT queer book, because usually I just don't want to read those. But besides all that, I mean, vampire books are full of gay shit anyway. They need the Anne Rice vampires. So they tried to sacrifice her, and then Gabriel had to end up killing a lot of the people that were he wasn't raised by, but he's like a Silver Saint, and they're like nuns and the religious people, and they were trying to like, what were they doing? They were going to like throw her off a cliff or something. I can't remember how they were going to kill her. Anyway, he stole her and like killed a bunch of people and left. One of them that I thought he killed shows up later in the book, so maybe I'm confused. There's that guy named Argyle, the Forge Master Argyle. He's the one that makes the weapons for him. Yeah, the first book goes in a lot of detail about like they have these like star-shaped 7-pointed stars on their boots, so they leave tracks that are like, it's kind of like holding up a cross for a vampire, but it's like a circle. Kind of like Supernatural, the TV show, how they have the weird cross symbol or the star symbol. I kind of want to get a tattoo of a 7-pointed star now. Maybe like even the Magician's book that I read earlier in the month, they had like the star with a keyhole in it. That seemed to be a cool tattoo. Anyway, so most of the starts out a lot. They're like on the run from the people he just killed, and the vampires are chasing them too, I think. So like the first book kind of focuses on the Voss clan of vampires. So that's the ones that the symbol is like the crow, and they have super hard armored skin, and all of the different vampires can kind of do psychic shit. And the Vosses, they can kind of take over the mind of something. I think like one point, like the Forever King, he's like the main head vampire pretty much in this world. He takes over a young boy and he like puppeteers him, and he like sees what's going on from a distance. And you got the Divok clan. That's what this book is mainly about. The Divok, their symbol is the bear with a shield being broken out. They're like super strong. And when I say super strong, I'm talking about like anime strong. Like they pick up a chunk of a castle and they throw it like a mile. That kind of strong. And they have this crazy fighting technique where they have these like great swords or great axes, like 2-handed weapons that they're massively huge, like way like twice as long as a normal great-handed weapon. And they whip it, and it's so heavy it pulls them along with it, and they just kind of throw their bodies around with the weight of the weapon that they're throwing, and they call that Tempest style fighting or something. That's crazy. And there's a head vampire of that clan, and like his there's a female one. She's the older one, and he's like the strongest one or something like that. So they've taken over this big castle out in the west. And then you've also got the Chastains, which is the wolf vampires. They can be the ones that talk to animals and stuff. So like the whole story, the whole book, Gabriel de Leon has been imprisoned. He's captured by the Chastains. So it makes you wonder, like, he must have gotten caught by the wolf clan. Like it shows you like how crazy strong the Divox are, and you know that at the end he's going to get caught by these wolf ones. So they must be even stronger somehow, or even like smarter or something. And the Chastain guy is named Jean-Francois, and he like takes over the mind of a mouse, and he like uses it to like make sure he doesn't do anything weird when he's gone. He's sitting there basically writing down Gabriel's story. He's giving him wine. He gives him this like Santis, which is like dried vampire blood that they smoke, and it keeps them from like getting too hungry and like turning into a vampire, because they're basically half vampires. And you also, spoiler alert, you find out like one of the rules I figured out of like writing a cool story is you make a bunch of rules and then you break it. Like with the Power Rangers, they say, okay, there's only 5 Power Rangers. There's black, green, no, there's black, blue, yellow, pink, and red. That's it. There's the 5. And then like episode 1 is like, oh, there's this new Power Ranger. He's the Green Ranger. I think it was like episode 1, right? The Green Ranger shows up. So everybody's like, oh my god, that's crazy. They broke the rule that they just made. And then I think later they break it again with the White Ranger, right? So they say there's 4 vampire clans. There's the Divok, the Voss, the Chastain, and the Elon. That's the ones with the snake, and they kind of do even more mental pushing kind of stuff. They make you do stuff you don't want to do or something. We haven't really learned a lot about the Elon yet. But then the first book at the end, you find out there's a 5th clan of vampires that were pretty much, everybody thinks they've been wiped out, called the Elani. Is that right? Isani, Isana or Isani. One means faithful and one means faithless. Oh yeah, the Elon is symbol is a snake, by the way. So the 5th clan, Isani, I think it was. Yeah. They their symbol is 2 skulls looking at a grail. So they are actually the good guys, supposedly, if we're being told the truth. So they're like, I don't know, how would you create a vampire clan just with the purpose of protecting the grail? Basically, they're looking for the grail. Maybe that's because they're thousands of years old, and Dior is only like 20 or something, right? So that wouldn't make sense. Anyway, their motivation is to protect Dior and get her to this really old vampire that's in the Divok castle that they took over, and underneath, and he's supposed to like teach her what to do to get rid of this endless night, because the sun is blocked by clouds or dust or something like that. So the vampires can come out during the daytime, but they're not as strong. So really cool story. And you also find out Gabriel de Leon's sister, what the heck was her name? She has like a point of view at the second half of the book, because he gives him a break from telling a story. She's got the same kind of ability he has, which is like this control of your blood. And you can also use your blood to like burn vampires. Or you can mentally get a hold of them and just like burn their blood. Something. Celine Castia. Right? Celine Castia? Castia. Whatever it is. She like she can make like a sword out of her blood, and she makes like a little drop of blood turn into a moth, and that Dior gets captured. She leaves that moth with Dior, so she got a piece of her there that can observe everything that's going on in the enemy castle, and that's how she's able to tell Jean-Francois her side of the story of what all happened when Gabriel, at one point they're together and then they split, and then Gabriel's over here, she's captured, so they have 2 different sides of the story, and his sister has to tell that side of the story. And his sister is also being held captive by Jean-Francois in the basement, like across a little underground river, because vampires can't cross the river, flowing water, right? So, really fucking cool. Apparently, Gabriel and his sister hate each other for some reason, but in the story, they're working together. So I think, at the end, they're acting like they hate each other when they really are going to be working together. And then at the end, Dior supposedly gets killed. Spoiler alert. But I'm thinking maybe they're just going to tell Jean-Francois that she got killed and she's really still alive. And then at the end it says they're having like a funeral for her and she opens her eyes. So I don't know if that means she's a vampire now, which would not make sense because they can't even make her a vampire. Because her blood, like they can't even like mind control her because that's the way she pretended like she was mind controlled the whole time she was at this castle. And she had this whole plan to like kill the head vampire, so all of the people that were like thralls, they would all turn on them, and like she would just flip the whole castle overnight in one swift move. But then, great storytelling, it backfires, and like they knew what she was doing, or that somebody told on them. Oh, that was the best part. Betrayal. Oh man, the story. You got this guy. He's like the two gay guys. Aaron DeCoste. He's a Silver Saint. He gets flipped, turned into a thrall. His boyfriend or whatever, Baptiste, they have this castle together south of Saint Michel, and Baptiste, he gets turned back with Dior's blood. So a lot of them are just pretending to be thralls, but they're not really like under vampire control. And yeah, so they were actually like working against each other and like saying all this shit, like he didn't really love him and all this crap. And then Baptiste went off on that main vampire with his big hammer and just crushed his skull in. It was fucking dope. Fight scene. Oh, the last battle. It's pretty much like Helm's Deep in Lord of the Rings. It's one of those kind of epic scale battles, by the way. You got the regular... Okay, so Gabriel de Leon, he goes and gets these kind of Scottish druid type people. They're like... They can turn into animals. They're not vampires or anything. Even their claws can hurt vampires, right? He has to convince them, which they don't even let in outsiders, but he convinces them to start an army to go save Dior because they have this whole prophecy about the chosen one or whatever, but her's supposed to like save her from the vampires, and he proved that the vampires were screwing them over, using their blood to get super strong, and then he realizes when he takes their blood, like if he drinks from a vampire 3 times, I think he's under their control. But if he drinks one of these shapeshifter guys' blood, he gets like crazy strong. And he can compete with these Divok strength vampires. Pretty sick. And then, so you got the shapeshifter army is going to this big vampire castle. And then Dior's trying to do her backstabby thing at the same time to like weaken them, to get everybody to flip so that everybody can just come right into the castle and take over the vampires and kill them. But then you got the Voss clan. They send their whole army because they're saying you got to turn Dior over to them for some reason. Like the Divoks don't even know why they want her. They don't know that she's like the Grail of Saint Michel or whatever. So you got 2 vampire clans, and then you got the one shapeshifter clan, the Gabriel de Leon, and then the fucking Silver Saints that he betrayed. He had this protege that he didn't understand what was going on. He was fighting against him. Like, why'd you do this? Why'd you kill all our friends? And he ends up telling them about they were trying to, like, sacrifice this girl. And then he's like, he went back and got all the fucking, the cavalry. Cavalry shows up and all the fucking Silver Saints. They helped him win the battle, but they all got wiped out. So now, Gabriel de Leon's the last Silver Saint. I think there were some nuns maybe, but he's like the last one of the order of Saint Michel. And then they're in this castle, and then it's like Jean-Francois is like, I gotta go to bed. After him and his sister are like fighting and all this shit, they drunk on like 6 bottles of wine, and like, then Dior opens her eyes at the end. Pretty sick, crazy story. I kind of thought this might be just like a duology, but like it has to keep going now, right? You have to explain what happens next. Fucking sick book. Even with all the gay shit, still good. He's got this sword also that is like alive and it talks to him. Anybody that holds it, it can like speak to their mind. Something about that sword. I don't know what it is. Like somebody talking about it had a demon inside of it or something. I'm really suspicious of this sword. It's really cool. I like having characters that are like animals that can talk to you in your brain, like in Assassin's Apprentice, or swords that talk to you in your mind, like stuff like that. It's cool as fuck. Anyway, dog wants to go outside or something. I gotta go take a shower, go to bed.